What is going on, everybody out there in the developer community? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hopefully, you have something to drink. You're staying hydrated. I have a peach tea, naturally, 0 grams of sugar, 5 calories. It's very, very tasty. A brand called Swoon. Very, very good. So, cheers to you. Hopefully, you're doing great. Hopefully, your October is spooky. I hope you're having a good spooky. Look at this awesome Go Lions, Detroit Lions, Nickelodeon, slime hat. It's amazing. Cheers. We are going to have a great episode today. It's going to be a glorious day. I have to speak at a meetup tonight. So we are knocking out this stream today. And I'm going to bring up on stage a buddy of mine, known him for a few years. And we are going to welcome to the stage the one and only Code Stacker, Jesse Hall.
What's up?
What's going on, Jesse?
that chill countdown music. It was like, yeah, it was in the zone there.
It's a
now
vibe.
we're live. It is. It's a vibe. We're gonna talk about vibes today, by the way. So
Well, before we kick that off, I want to throw some banners up on the screen.
mm,
If you're not following TuxCare, follow TuxCare right there on Twitter, twitter.com/TuxCare. We are still running our Halloween contest, our Dev Nightmare contest. So please, please, please follow TuxCare on socials. Let us know your horror story. Jesse, I need you to get in on this. Let us know your worst thing that you've done, or you don't have to name like companies or anything like that, but did you drop a database? I mean, you do work for Mongo. Did you mess something up in production? Did you leave out a comma and it broke something? You didn't test your stuff. Let us know all over the socials. You have until October 31st at 11:59 Eastern to get that in, and make sure that you tag it. Use the hashtag TuxScare, and we are going to compile all of the stories at the end of the month, and we are going to choose a winner. And I believe first place, you win a portable monitor, which is pretty sweet. And then we have a couple cool prizes after that. So make sure that you tune into that. It's running till the end of the month. And if you're not following me on Twitter, give me a follow, twitter.com/saltandburnham. Check out tuxcare.com if you're not familiar with TuxCare. We do a bunch of amazing things with the Linux space, but we also do end-of-life support for open source software, frameworks, libraries, runtimes, a bunch of cool stuff there. And then I can't leave this out. Give Jesse a follow on Twitter, twitter.com or x.com/codestacker. And I will let you take it away, Jesse. Give us an intro. Tell everybody who you are, what you're all about.
oh, cool. Thanks for having me again, Chris. So yeah, I'm a staff developer advocate at MongoDB. I also have a YouTube channel called CodeStacker. Been around okay. So I've been an engineer for about 20 years, but I've been a developer advocate, I guess, for about 5 years. And just loving the space, loving teaching developers and learning while teaching, and just that sort of stuff. I don't have anything in person coming up in the near future. I might be going to San Francisco next week. No, not next month, for Mostra AI for their event. But yeah.
Nice. No, that's awesome. I'm going to throw this up on the screen. This is Jesse's YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/codestacker. So if
Thank you.
everybody wants to take that down, welcome to the chat. Welcome to the stream, Tehran. Thanks for all the amazing engagement that you had for Commit Your Code. I haven't forgotten about that. You were extremely engaged and live tweeting. I know you were there virtually. I think you were just at ATO. I didn't get a chance to go to ATO, but I heard great things.
I missed both of those. I'm sad.
Oh, I know. Commit Your Code was really good. We were talking about this prior to joining the stream, and like I was telling you, like it was way bigger than it was last year, and more speakers. It was just it was great. It was really good. Everything ran smooth. I mean, you would think that with so many people and so many speakers, there's blips, but
Mm.
everything was on time, and people started on time and they ended on time, and I don't recall it running behind or running forward. So it was really good. And this year, Danny and crew, they really took care of things. Like day 0, he was calling it. They did like a pickleball event,
Mm-hmm.
and then they had just after parties and dinners, and it was really, really good. It was It was, yeah. I mean, it was super super organized, and I'm really stoked for next year if he does it.
Danny knows how
He,
to throw a party.
he does, and and
Yeah.
he talks about, what was he saying? He was talking about being, forgot what it was, but the gist of it is, if someone tells him he can't do it, he's going to do it. And when they were doing the closing keynote, he was talking about, he's like, yeah, I don't know if we're going to do this next year or not. And I yelled out, I said, I bet you won't do it. And everybody started laughing. I'm like, I caught you. Now you got to do it.
There you
And
go.
yeah,
He
so
said
I
the
think
same thing last year too.
yeah,
Yeah,
he'll
he's gonna
do
do
it.
it. Yeah,
He'll do it.
he has to
But
do it. He has to do it, and I'll be there next year.
yeah, for sure. And
Amazing.
I'll tell you what, it was warmer this year than
Yeah,
last year.
that's true. It was really. I remember last year being outside at the after party, and it was like so cold. We were all like huddled up around those heaters outside.
Yep. Yep, we all had hoodies
Yeah.
on, and yeah, dude, that was, it was chilly in
Mhm.
Texas, but
Yeah.
anyways.
Amazing.
So what is this thing, vibe coding? Everybody's talking
Mhm.
about it. I mean, it is. It's a vibe, right? It's just a vibe. So let's talk about
It's
it. What do we need
yeah.
to talk about vibe coding?
You just do it, right? It's a vibe. You just
You
code,
just do
and
it.
it's
Yeah,
just a thing.
you
Yeah,
just do it.
it just works, right? It works every time.
Works every time.
That's been your
99% of the
experience,
time.
right? Yeah.
100%, dude. That's all I do is vibe code. I vibe sleep, I vibe eat. It just works.
Life is vibes. Um,
Mhm.
yeah. So okay. Vibe coding. It's a term that we hear a lot lately, and it is it seems to be very popular, but what there's some issues, and so we're going to talk about the issues, but there's also some pros and cons. But first of all, I'm very much a definitions person. So like when you hear the word vibe coding, what do you think of? And then when somebody else hears the word vibe coding, they might think of something completely different. And so like what are we talking about here? So vibe coding, I kind of put it into two different buckets. There's non-developers who are using AI tools to build small, applications using natural language prompts without ever touching code. So that's one bucket of vibe coding. And then the other bucket of vibe coding would be developers using tools like Cursor, Claude Code to prototype or to scaffold, features. So like those are the two kind of buckets of vibe coding that I see. And then there's the tab completions, right? Auto completions. That's AI assisted, but that's not really vibe coding, I would say. Like that's like a totally other thing. What are your opinions on those two buckets, two main buckets?
No, I mean, that makes sense. Like, you got your co-pilots and your windsurfs and stuff like that, right? Then, you
Mhm,
got your auto completion. My thing about it is, and I was gonna hold off and talk about this at the end, but it's, to me, like, if when I think about vibe coding, like, if you were to, before vibe coding was ever a thing, if you were to say, "Oh, man," like, I'd be like, "Yeah, I'm just vibe coding right now." Like, to me, that would just be like, "Oh, I'm in the zone." Like,
mhm,
I'm vibing on something, like, that, like an old school term if you were to, put it that way.
mhm.
Now it's like, "Oh, hey, I'm just gonna use this and tell this to do the thing, and then it's just gonna do the thing, and I'm gonna sit and watch."
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that the term vibe coding has maybe gotten a bad rap or like a negative connotation to it in the time since it became a thing because of the bad things that we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
but let's talk about the non-developers first. So the non-developers, they can use tools like Bolt, Lovable, V0, and similar type things to just type natural language and it spits out an application. And then these non-developers, they go ahead and host this application. They put it into production and they've got issues. Like
Mhm.
it's not secure. If you're doing any kind of like credit card transactions, if you have any like PII information in it, like there's so many of them getting hacked because these tools don't do everything the way that a real developer would do things, right? A lot of times it's just hacky, like thrown together. Um, and then that's like the quick and dirty process. In between, you don't see all of the back and forth that they have to do because it doesn't work first shot. Like they've got to keep going back and forth, back and forth. And there was a oh, it was yesterday. It was Fireship. He put out a video yesterday and he called it the what was it? It was the treadmill something. I have to think about that. Um, Called it like the treadmill of prompting or something. And it's like it's just continually prompting the AI, thinking that you're going to get different results, but in fact, like you have an issue, you say, please fix this issue, it fixes it, but then it creates more issues. Then you're like,
Mhm.
okay, fix this issue, and then fix this issue. It's just a continual loop of vibing that
Yeah.
becomes old. It gets old, and they get frustrated. And like I said, eventually they put it into production, and it's just full of holes.
Right. Wow. Yeah, it's like the snowball effect. It just you know what
Mhm.
I mean? It just keeps going and going and going. We have a question from Tehran in the chat. What is the difference between vibe coding and AI pair programming? I think that's a good
Mm.
question because essentially, if you think about it, it's not so much like to me traditional pair programming, right? It's you're going back and forth with someone physically or like
Mhm.
virtually. Like you and I would pair program. You and I have pair programmed on stuff that I'm
Mhm.
building with Mongo and Next and
Mhm.
stuff like that. So yeah, well, I mean, what do you what would be the difference?
So when we talk about the other bucket of vibe coding, where it's developers using vibe coding, I think that that is a good, realistic way of using the AI to help you. And so a lot of people, again, a lot of people in their mind, they think of vibe coding as just typing plain text and it spits out something good in the end, but that's not the reality. Um, Vibe coding can be like you were saying, Chris. Like I'm in this vibe, and I'm just like vibing with the AI, and we're getting stuff done. But that's because you're a programmer, you're a developer. You know what good code looks like, and
Mhm,
as you are prompting the AI and you're pair programming with it, you're saying, hey, you're basically treating the AI as like a junior programmer. And you're saying, hey, I've got this task for you. I'm going to be very explicit at what task I want you to complete, and go complete it and come back. And then I'm going to review your code, and we're going to go from there. Right. So that is a good way of vibe coding, where you're being very deterministic in the outcome that you want, and you're
yeah,
not kind of leaving it open to the LLM to figure it out.
yeah. Well, I think too then in that case, you have to be really good at prompting, right? And
Mm,
I've seen, like, so many things. I think Adi Osmani put something out a few weeks back or a month ago about, like, crafting, like, really, really, really good prompts. I've seen Wes Boss talk about this and talk about, like, be extremely, extremely, extremely explicit. Even
mhm,
if it's gotta be like a paragraph with bullet points, being extremely explicit on what you're looking for and how it gets done because, I mean, anything can pull from all over the place. I don't know how to write a Docker file by
mhm,
heart, right?
mhm.
I don't know many front end developers that do, but maybe they do. I don't know. Do you know how to write a Docker file by heart?
No, I would still have to look at the docs every single time.
So I've looked at docs and I just went into Claude one day. I was like, hey, this is please generate a Docker file for this thing that I'm building. Blah blah blah. I was trying to test some things
Mhm,
for just a site I was building, and it generated a Docker file. Cool, that's awesome. But it was using an older version. The Docker file that was generated was using an older version of Node that had
mm,
security vulnerabilities.
mm,
So I went and looked up the CVEs and I learned about it. And I was like, oh, okay. Figured out how to fix them. And then once I fixed it, everything was fine. But like that's not like that kind of goes back to that is could be holes in your stuff or you're
mm,
building these projects out and it's using not secure code. And actually wrote a blog post about it. You
mhm.
can find it on the TuxCare blog. You can find it on my blog. But yeah, I mean, kind of goes hand in hand with that.
Yeah, and that reminds me of a tweet recently from Scott Talinsky from Syntax. He said, it's crazy that AI is really, really good at the stuff that I'm bad at, but
Hmm.
the stuff that I'm good at, it's really bad at. But
Right.
think about the perception there. You don't know the thing, and so you think the AI is good because like you don't know Docker, and it's all of a sudden it's spitting out a Docker file, and you're like,
Right.
oh, this is good. Like at first glance, this looks great, but thank you. But then you start digging into it, and it's not. But if you were like a Docker person, you knew Docker, you probably would have spotted those mistakes right away, right? And you say, oh, AI is bad because it doesn't even know this thing, right?
Right.
But back to like prompt engineering, like yes, prompt engineering is a thing, um, but it's not like the end all be all of like there's so many different things that go into that. So there's also context. Like you have to give the LLM enough context to complete the task. So for instance, if you just take a random LLM and say, oh, Fireship does this all the time. Like build this Svelte 5, to-do app. It gets it wrong every single time because it doesn't know Svelte 5 because it's so new, right? But if you give it context. So actually yesterday, Svelte released an MCP tool. So we can talk a little bit about MCP tools if you want. But Svelte released an MCP server that has their docs in it. So basically you can now attach this MCP server to your Claude Code or Cursor or whatever, and then tell it to build a to-do app, and it does it perfectly from start because it has the docs right there. It has the context that it needs to do the thing correctly. And so like Docker probably has an MCP server. Like everybody now has, MongoDB has MCP servers. So like everybody has one. It's just a matter of giving the LLM the tools that it needs to do the job properly.
Yeah.
And then also keeping the tasks small. So that's where a lot of developers run into a lot of issues, is where they try to tell it to do too much. Like for instance, building a to-do app is not what I would prompt it to do. Like I would, like as a developer, I could bootstrap, a Next.js project, like just a plain one, right? Why would I rely on the LLM to do that, where it's just one command line, like just create next app, done, right?
Yeah.
Here's what an LLM would do. They wouldn't run the CLI. They wouldn't run. I mean, if you specifically told it to run the CLI, it would. But generally, if you just said build a Next.js app, it's actually going to put those files in there individually. It's going to create the package JSON. It's going to put random version numbers that sometimes it just makes up.
Oh,
it's
wow.
like it's not using the tools properly because all I said was build me a Next.js app. I didn't specifically say, use the CLI tool or anything like that, right? So what I would do, building, let's just say a to-do app, I would bootstrap that myself from the CLI, just run the command, get a project going, and then tell the LLM, like break it down into small tasks for the agent to help me with, right? I wouldn't just say, implement all of these features all at once, right? And that's where a lot of developers kind of struggle at, is giving the LLM too much to do in one shot.
Wow. Yeah, I think I've probably been victim of that because like, oh, I have this awesome idea. I want to get it done super quick. Do this, and this, and this, instead of just breaking it down into smaller tasks. Because I mean, like you said, if you're building a Next app, you don't need, Claude to build, like it's just npx, install, create next, whatever latest, and then scaffold it out that way, right? So yeah, I could see where that would throw issues, but that throws me for a loop, is the making up the versions and stuff like that. Like I haven't seen that, but I mean, I don't really dig too deep into the world of the LLM and what it's actually being generated. But I know that there just have been a lot of issues, and
Yeah.
where are we going to go from there?
Exactly. And I think so. The new models come out all the time, right? And as a new model comes out, it has more recent context, more recent, information, but it still has all of this information from the internet, right? And when you're prompting it, telling it to focus on specific things is the key. Because also giving it the context through MCP tools or just if you go to any doc site these days, you'll see a little copy page button on most doc sites now, and it copies the entire page as a markdown that you can then paste into an LLM. So
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
So what I'll do is I'll go to whatever doc site and I'm trying to do this thing, and I know this is a new feature and there's no way this LLM knows about this feature. I'll go to the doc site, I'll hit copy page, and I'll type out my prompt and I'll say follow these instructions, and then paste that page in and let it go.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you have an example of a doc site? I'll pull it up.
Yeah. So like you can go to MongoDB's docs, mongodb.com/docs.
/docs.
And then let's see. Let's go to, where are we? Yeah, you can go to any, like just getting started, and then you'll see copy page there.
All right, let me throw this up on the screen. Right
There's
here, right?
another, sorry, good.
Is that it?
Oh, I don't see your
Oh,
screen.
add to stage. There we
There you
go.
go. Yeah. So right there, the top right-ish of the page says copy
Right
page. Yep.
here.
Yeah. So you just click that, and you can actually, we have a built-in AI assistant on the site as well. So you could ask it questions about this page if you want. But you can just hit copy page, copies it for the LLM, just paste it into your LLM. Yeah. Pretty cool.
Wow.
Another thing that I found that not every doc site has implemented, but most of them have, is if you just go to, so I wonder if MongoDB has it. Actually, let me see. So if you go to the doc site, so mongodb.com/docs, and then llms.txt. Yeah. Sorry. All right. So in your URL at the top, mongodb.com/docs. After docs, do /LLMS.txt.
Oh, wow.
And so this is all of the docs. Copy that entire thing, give it to your LLM.
And what you just ask, like, you just prompt, like, hey, I'm trying to do this thing
Use
in
these docs.
Mongo, use these docs, and then you just copy and paste this.
Yeah.
Let me try this. I'm gonna do a new chat here. Not now. I am trying to, let me see if I can, I'm not sharing the screen. Let me change this, remove, and then go back to this, share screen, Gemini, share. Get this up on the screen. All right. Let me go back over here. What should we do today? Let's, I am trying to install Next.js using MongoDB and Compass to consume the data. Use these docs to help me. I wonder if it pasted all the docs. Oh, sure did.
Oh wow. There's
Let's
a
see
lot.
what happens.
There's a lot. I wonder how much context that is. Like how big the context window is for Gemini. I can't remember off the top of my head. Oh, that's 2.5 flash. It's probably pretty small. Let's see. What is it saying?
Here.
Install CLI and Docker. Okay, for local deployment. Okay. Cool. So it's having you, it's trying to have you use the Atlas local development container. So instead of going straight to Atlas Cloud, you can actually run it locally just for development purposes. So that's pretty cool. Let's see, what's the next step? Connect to your deployment, Atlas. So it's basically it's having you run all the CLI commands. So as with any technology, there are a million ways to do things. So you can use the Atlas CLI, you can use Atlas Cloud, you can do things manually through the UI. There's different ways of doing it, and this is one of the way that it picked. And I can probably see why it picked this way, because it could actually control these things. So it can't go to the Atlas UI and click buttons and set things up for you, but you could tell it to run these commands in your terminal, and it could do all of this for you.
Oh, interesting. Compass, sample data.
I mean, like, it's fairly detailed in the information it's giving you too.
Yeah. Yep.
I wonder in the Next.js, if you go down just a little bit further, I wonder if it's going to give you the proper connection method in Next.js. So install the driver. Okay, keep going. Create a connection. Oh, this is it. Create the connection file. I want to see what that looks like. It did it. It did it correctly. That's the right file. Wow. Okay, so here's the thing: is in Next.js and in other frameworks as well, but Next.js uses serverless like Lambda functions, right? And so the problem with those is that they spin up and they go down, they spin up and they go down. You never have like a constant connection. And so with MongoDB, you have to make sure that you are reusing, you're like basically creating a connection pool, so that you're reusing those connections within the application. So if for instance, a user comes to the homepage and they have to go fetch some data, it's going to create a connection and it's going to come back with the data. They go to another page and they need to pull in some more data, they're just going to create a connection and it's going to come back. Well, we don't want it to create connections every single time. We want it to
Right.
reuse that connection. So it's going to create the connection one time, and then it's going to cache that globally so that it reuses that same connection every single time after that.
Wow.
So yeah, it actually set it up properly.
Hmm.
Yep. And then
Wow.
API route. Yep.
And that's it.
To be honest, this is one of the most detailed explanations I've ever seen. So I think
Wow.
you should be able to follow that, and it should work the first time.
That's cool.
So that's what you get when you give an LLM enough context to do the thing.
Wow.
Honestly, I was thinking from your prompt that it was maybe a little too broad, but
Mhm.
because you gave it enough context, it was actually able to do it. So
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
yeah. So I would say, going back to the, is vibe coding dead? Did it overpromise? Are we just using it wrong? I think I don't think it's dead.
Mhm.
I think maybe it did overpromise at first, and it's evolving now to be something something good.
Yeah.
Hopefully something good.
Yeah.
And are we using it wrong? I think that some people don't completely understand how to use it properly. What was it? Oh, CJ from Syntax. I watch a lot of Syntax, if you don't
Mhm.
realize. But CJ, he was saying, he had a video a couple of days ago saying like vibe coding is dead, or like he's going to stop using vibe coding because he just can't get it. And
Yeah.
he asked like, is this a skill issue? Because I know for a fact that CJ tried everything that he could, and he couldn't get vibe coding to work for him. And he's going to go
Yeah.
back to just like regular coding, and then like come back to it later if things improve, right? And all I can say is it works for me, and it
Right.
works for, like, I've kind of figured out how to prompt the LLM correctly and how to make sure I give it enough context and use correct MCP tools, etc. And it's worked for me. So is it a skill issue? I can't say that it's a skill issue because I know CJ has skills, but
Yeah. Yeah.
but it is definitely an art, and hopefully it will start to get better, especially as we're like in the .com bubble. Like there was like so many things going on, but in the end there was only a couple of winners, right? So
Right.
like we're in that same stage of AI where there's so many different ways of doing things. There's Cursor's doing things differently from Claude Code, and you go back and forth between these different agents or different platforms. They're all doing things a little differently, and you have to kind of like learn their way of doing things. But in the end, only a couple are going to win, and hopefully
Right.
everything kind of becomes more standardized and easier for everyone to kind of to use.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like you were saying, it really does boil down to prompting. The one thing I always talk about with vibe coding and like just LLMs in general is, there was a point in time where you and I, like, we're old school web heads. Like I still do, and I know you still do. We used to read books. We have web books and CSS books and JavaScript books, and um, you know, that is how we started off. We'd read through a book, and then we set it down and copy what is in the code, or like if there's all those old school web books that came with CD-ROMs with like sample code and stuff on them. Even like the Net magazine back in the day. I don't know if you ever got like the Net
Mhm.
magazines, but they always had sample code and stuff on them with the CD that was with them. But like we used to read books, and I mean we still do read books, and we used to copy code out of those. Like I think 2600, if anybody's a hacker or a fan of hacking, 2600 still releases their quarterly, and you can still go buy it. You can go to Barnes and Noble or whatever and buy Hacker or 2600. But they have full programs in there, probably, written in, lower level, like maybe C sharp, or not C sharp, but maybe C++, maybe Python.
Mm.
And we would copy code out of a book,
Mhm.
or we would like read an old tutorial or a blog post or something, and copy out of that. I think like the newer cats that are coming up in the game, that are on this vibe coding train, I don't
Mm.
maybe they're just not aware of it, but all that LLM is doing is literally pulling information that you and I consumed 20,
Mhm.
30 years ago, or 15,
Yeah.
10 years ago. You know what I mean? It's grabbing from books that, were physically published but are now electronic, and it's grabbing from, old blog posts and old tutorials and throwing it all together. Like,
Yeah.
we've been there, we've done that. This is just a faster, quicker, easier way than having to go out and buy a book or go out and download an ebook. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
That's the yes and no. Yes, that is yes. But um the bad part about that is it's pulling from outdated information.
That's what I'm
And
saying. That's what I mean. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So yes, it's learning, it's going through all these things, but it's almost like it's pulling from it doesn't have a concept of time, like a linear way of thinking, I guess. So it's pulling
Right.
from this old stuff and it's saying, "Oh, this is relevant," but it's not relevant because there's newer stuff that kind of replace that old stuff, right? And
Mhm.
so it kind of gets confused, and that's where you have like through prompting and through giving it the correct context, you're able to like say, use this information and don't use this other information. And then around like reading books and all that sort of stuff, like YouTube wasn't around when I learned how to code, so it was like
Right.
I'm spending so many hours in Barnes and Nobles, like reading through books and like um. But talking about developers now learning how to code, well, so there's again there's the non-developer group who are trying to use these tools to create applications, and that's really cool because you can create a proof of concept really quickly with one of these tools and don't even know how to code, right? But let a developer actually take that to production. So
Mhm.
then it goes to the developer, and a developer that is just now learning, they so there's that question, is AI going to take our jobs, right? AI is not going to take your job as long as you get on board with using AI, because AI
Right.
is a new tool for you to use. It's like, going from in construction business, going from a hammer to a drill. Like
Right.
you're still using your hand. You're using you physically have to use the tool, right?
Right.
And you physically have to understand how to use the tool properly, right? But it's going to make you go faster. A drill is going to make you go faster than a hammer, right? So as a new developer, you have to learn how to use LLMs to your advantage, but you also still have to know the language that you're programming. You still have to know how to code because you have to be able to tell if the AI is doing things properly or not. And
Right.
so there's so many developers now that are saying like, well, I don't have to learn all of the basics. I can just like prompt the LLM as I'm going to teach me as I'm going.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think that's going to work out very well. You need to know the basics first.
100%. And Toronto, that's a great point. If I'm using it, I mostly just use it just to ask questions.
Mm,
Like, I think I've done like a couple small things where I've tried to like have it build out something for me, or like I need to do something quick, but it was just for me. Like, it's not
mhm,
for, something specific. Cause if it's something specific, I'll probably just try to build it by hand and just scaffold
mhm,
out the project by hand. And then if I get tripped up, maybe Google it, or ask an LLM like how to do this. But even if I'm building out something and I'm confused about a chunk of code, I'll highlight it in Copilot, or I'll highlight in VS Code and ask Copilot, like, hey,
mhm,
can you break this down for me? Or
mhm.
can you explain this chunk of syntax to me because I've never seen this before? And
Yeah,
I use it as a learning tool, but I know that, it's not always going to be accurate 100% of the time. It just can't be right now,
yeah.
at least. But like, I know that, like, we just put it in our newsletter, Claude Sonnet, I think 4.5 or something, 4.3 was just released, and they're
Mhm,
saying it's one of the, like, the best and fastest, LLMs, or whatever,
mhm.
AI tooling out there now, but that also comes with the overhead.
Yeah. I agree. Like LLMs are great at teaching, and I can't tell you the last time that I actually Googled something. I tend to go to Perplexity a lot, and I like I don't know. It just Perplexity is, I don't know how it is so fast at answering questions, but like you ask it a question, it's like boom, immediate. You've got the answer, and then you've got the citations that you can like click on and like go to the actual page that it got the information from and like verify that what it's saying is accurate or dig deeper if you want to. And so like I like same thing for you. Like if I'm in the code, I'll highlight it and ask, can you explain this? And in that context, the LLM, I say context a lot because you're giving the LLM context right there by highlighting this function block or whatever, and you're saying, LLM, please explain this to me. It then can see the context of what you're asking, and it can answer it. And I can't remember a time where it was ever wrong at explaining code to me because it has the code right there and it knows all of the basics and it can tell you what it's doing. Like that's usually where it always gets it right. And so for a teaching aid, I think it's really good in that context where you're like going into a brand new code base. Like let's say you just got hired at a company and you're trying to learn this code base real quickly. Use an LLM. Let the LLM help you out because it's going to be able to parse that code base much quicker than you can. It's the context where it's the situation where you're trying to build something from scratch or you're trying to do this new thing and you're not giving it enough boundaries. That's where the LLM starts to go wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. We do have a few minutes left. I do want to cover, and you brought it up, MCP.
Yeah.
MCP, Model Context Protocol. It's a new kid on the block. Everybody says all it is an API. Is that something that you would use an LLM to build? Because like I'm still trying to like get on board with it. Like I tweeted the other day,
Yeah.
like how if I want to do this thing, how do I like build an MCP? And then a handful of people, reached out and said, oh, check out this video and check this
Mhm.
out. And I did an article here, blah blah blah. And they're all great resources.
Yeah.
Would that be something that you would want to throw? Like if you're new to the world of MCP, is that something you would want to throw in an LLM to help you build it out, or is it better to just do the research and do it from scratch?
No, I think you can definitely use an LLM to help you build an MCP server, but let's understand like what an MCP server is. It Yes, you could equate it to an API call basically. That's like the easiest one-to-one comparison. But let's say like for instance you have a shopping site and instead of for some reason you want to allow people to buy things from your site through an LLM, right? So the LLM is not going to be able to go to your site.com/API/whatever, right? It can't do that. So we have to create that and um, I'm trying to think. Anthropic. Anthropic are the ones that came up with the standard. So API is a standard, HTTP is a standard. MCP now is a standard that everyone has gotten on board with. And it's just a standard way of writing those requests that an LLM can make to another party, right? And so if you have this thing that you want to expose to an LLM, you create an MCP server. And you could for sure use an LLM to help you create the MCP server. That's no problem at all. There's a lot of scaffolding out there already that could at least get you started. And an MCP server just returns data, just returns information. And so that's really all it is, like an API.
So if that's the case, why would you need it and not just build out your own API?
Because again,
Or
the
is it
LLM, so the
oh, keep
LLM
going.
client, yeah, the LLM client, like let's say you go to Claude Desktop, right? And or ChatGPT, whatever. And you want to interact with another site. You want to grab information from another site through their API call. Like you could scrape another site using these ChatGPTs or whatever, but that's not what you're trying to do. Let's say you're actually trying to purchase something. Like this is an e-commerce site and I want to purchase it through ChatGPT. I would need an MCP server to do that because it's going to create that connection so that ChatGPT can then, actually go back and forth between your.com. So that's where right now MCP is a little bit lacking in security. I know there's AI every day there's something new. Every day it's like it's hard to keep up with AI. I think last week they made some improvements, or last month they've been making improvements to the MCP standard to help with security. But at first, when it first came out, there was no security built into it, and so you had to make sure that anything you were passing back and forth was nothing crazy. But it's getting better. It's getting better. So is it the best way? But I don't know. But it is the way right now that everybody's getting on board with. But again, it's specifically an API meant to connect and talk to an LLM client like Claude Code or ChatGPT, etc.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do some more research on this because it seems like some of the stuff that I've wanted to build, like there aren't APIs for some of the things that I wanted to build, right? So like I'd have to go to the site, scrape the information I need,
Mm,
and get that information, consume it somehow, and then build out a UI that I want. So in that case, is that something I could do with an MCP server instead of building a scraper and then
mhm.
building out custom things? Like, what would I guess I wouldn't know how to navigate the area
Yeah.
if that's something that I wanted to do.
I think well, first of all, the use case. So the use case is generally something for your company or your domain that you're trying to provide to other people. So like for instance, the MongoDB MCP server specifically allows the LLM, like you can install it in VS Code, and it allows Copilot to connect directly to your Atlas Cloud instance and create indexes, query your data, help you create aggregation pipelines. Like it does all this stuff because it actually connects the LLM to your MongoDB instance, and it can run all the tools for you basically. And so that MCP server exposes all of those, read, write, update. It exposes all of those things. It exposes your cluster. It exposes your databases and your collections and all of that information behind it. And so the MCP now provides tools to the LLM, so you can do like slash collection and like do things, right? And just tell it like, can you analyze the schema of this collection and help me build out a Zod schema for this thing in my app, whatever. I don't know. You
Mhm.
can tell it to do that, and it has all that context now because it can actually connect to your data, your instance.
Wow, you are a wealth of knowledge, my friend.
I
You are a wealth of knowledge.
don't
Well,
know.
final verdict. What do we think here?
It's cool stuff. It's again, AI is not going to take your job, but you need to get on board. You need to learn how to use it to help you. It's a tool. Vibe coding is not dead, but it's evolving. And the really cool part about it is that you and I right now are able to help decide how this evolves. Like this is all basically open source. Like this is all community driven. And so we all can have a voice in like what's working, what's not working, how can I help, how can I help to improve this. Right now, like AI was the Wild West. I feel like we're coming out of that Wild West stage and we're now in like the industrial revolution maybe of AI. And then the future is going to, you think it's going fast now, it's going to go super fast after the industrial revolution. So
Yeah. Wow.
I feel like that's the stage that we're at now, and we can all help to evolve how these tools are built, and like build your own tools and like come up with cool stuff yourself and like contribute to the community.
I love it. I love it. Come up with this stuff yourself and contribute to the community. And that's what it's all about as developer advocates. We are ambassadors to the community, and we help as much as we can. That's awesome. Jesse, is there anything you want to plug before we end the stream?
No, just check out MongoDB if you haven't in a while. The lot has changed, and check out my YouTube and hit me up on Twitter.
Cool, cool. Make sure you're giving us a follow on Twitch. If not, follow us on the other social channels if you're tuned in there. Make sure you check out TuxCare. Remember, the Dev Nightmare contest is running till the end of the month. Make sure you use the hashtag TuxScare. You can tweet to me, you can tweet to TuxScare. Either way, we're going to be tracking all of those stories. The best story at the end of the month is going to win that portable monitor, and then we have a couple second and third prizes. I think maybe a fourth prize. It might just be three prizes. But make sure you do that. Best story wins, and then second and third place. Make sure you give me a follow on Twitter, Sultan Burnham. If you are a Supernatural fan, you will understand that reference. And then follow TuxCare on Twitter. Next week, we will not be streaming. I will be in Jackson, Mississippi for Magnolia Conf. If you are in the United States, if you are in Mississippi, Magnolia Conf is happening next week. It's an amazing event ran by some amazing friends of mine. And we are going to be there. We're going to be doing, I'll be doing verbose mode and doing interviews with some of the speakers. I'm also giving a talk, the SBOM talk that I've been giving. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We'll be there all week. So no stream next week. Magnolia Conf is in full effect. Thanks, Jesse, for hopping on the stream with me today. I really, really appreciate it. We'll do another one. Maybe next time we can talk about securing databases or securing MCP servers or something, or integrating Mongo with an MCP server, something cool like that. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll do a demo or show some code.
Sounds good. Yeah. Thank you again for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem. With that, I am going to end the stream. Catch you all on the next one, not next week, but stay tuned to my Twitter and the TuxCare Twitter for details. Peace out.